It's Friday, and we have my man Armen of HerpTime in the house. What's up, Armen?
What's up, MJ? How's it going?
It's going well, man. How are you doing? Are you safe from the fires and everything? Just to kind of get that out of the way.
Yep, fire's like maybe 40 miles away, but I know a lot of people that had to evacuate and stuff like that. But we're good here, so thank God.
Yeah, awesome to hear, and I'm so happy to have you be a part of this Friday show I have going on with Morph Market. But for the people who aren't too familiar with you, Armen, why don't you give us a little back information on you?
Yeah, so my name's Armen, and my business name is HerpTime. I specialize mainly in unusual, exotic, rare, whatever you want to call them, uncommon lizards, geckos, some amphibians, and just strange reptiles and herps in general. So I'm more focused on smaller species, stuff that fits in a smaller bioactive terrarium, anoles, micro geckos, stuff like that is what I really focus on. And yeah, been doing it for, I've had reptiles over 2 decades, but this has been a full-time thing the past like at least 5 years. So, and been breeding and selling at least 15. So
Now I forgot what I wanted to do. First time I ever brought Armen on my Trap Talk Reptile Network podcast, I had a photo of Armen when he was just a little boy. Do you remember that photo that you said that we were able to pull up? I don't know why I had it somewhere, but I would have loved to show it because it's just to give you an idea how long some of these keepers been doing it. Armen's been doing this his whole life. Like, I'm talking to a whole nerding out, geeking out level. It's been your whole life, hasn't it, Armen?
Literally, it's as long as I can remember, it's all I think about. My mom plopped me down in front of the TV when I was 2 watching Steve Irwin, and then that was kind of the beginning of the end. So my dad was never really into reptile. I mean, he doesn't like animals at all, but he was always supportive and let me bring whenever I'd catch lizards or snakes, he let me bring them in the house. My 5th Christmas, they got me a corn snake, and ever since then, there's never been a time in my life that I didn't have a reptile. So
all right, well, let's see where this has evolved to, because, you know, like you just stated, you're about the rare stuff. And I actually recommend everyone checking out after this live the vlog I dropped last week where I had spotlighted Armen's booth at the Reptile Super Show because I was looking for the rare stuff. And of course, you know, you cannot go to Armen's booth, not go to Armen's booth if you're looking for rare stuff. And we're able to display some of that stuff. Now, before we actually look at what you have now, Armen, like, how are you adapting in the reptile world today with how like certain areas of the reptile world sales wise is kind of rough, but you are working with really unique stuff. So how are you doing in a market where not much people are even touching or even working with the stuff that you currently keep? Like, are you managing okay, or how's that working?
Yeah, well, I'm thankful and blessed that I've kind of have a talent with social media, so that's helped me push my stuff a lot. Without that, all this stuff would be really hard to get attention and traction and even be able to sell. Right. So thankfully, my background in social media and being able to promote everything, people actually realize how cool and interesting some of these things are. So for example, a couple years ago, anoles, everyone just thought of green and brown anoles, feeder lizards, but there's literally over 400 species, and they're really, really interesting, cool. They make great display animals. And through social media, I've sold thousands at this point of different thousands individuals, hundreds of different species. And like, I barely have any on Morph Market right now because I've sold everything I produced last year, and the breeding season will start back up in the spring. So it's been, I'm super blessed and super thankful that it's gone the way it has. So
you have good reptile keeper problems right now.
Yeah, right now I have a shortage of anoles. People are asking me, people message me on Morph Market, replying to old ads saying, when will you have these? When will you have these? I'm like, well, hopefully, you know, come spring, summer, early summer, I have more babies. But it's like, it's kind of a crazy problem to have, not having enough lizards to sell, which I'm kind of in that situation, which is, I never could have imagined that being a problem. I'm so thankful it is. It's a good problem, but it is a problem.
Yeah, but, you know, I will say though, Armen, you know, talking about your strong suit on social media, like, you grind hard on that as long as I've known you. And I feel like that has taken a huge weight off your shoulders with having to make sales. Even though you are making sales, you are somebody who spread yourself out where you have multiple incomes. And I think anyone should consider that.
Social media definitely doesn't even come close to paying the bills, but it's a nice bonus on top that the advertising I'm doing does make a little money, but I need to focus more on my YouTube. I don't make any money on YouTube. I make a little money on TikTok and Facebook, but it's like a few $100 a month. It's even when videos get millions of views, those platforms don't pay a lot. So
no. But don't you still think it's important to like put your work out there, and like regardless of the money being made, like it's kind of like paper trails in a resume, you would say, on your work.
Totally. And it's also credibility. Of course, a lot of people go to Morph Market and see the ads and they want to go look up either, is this guy legit? Obviously I have a lot of reviews, but when I was newer, is this guy legit? Is this guy a scammer? Is this guy gonna, obviously there's not a lot of those on Morph Market. People still want to know what's going on with this person. So if you just have a business name and you're selling stuff and you don't have anything to look up on Google or Instagram or Facebook, people are going to shy away from buying from you. So it's just you're right. It's a credibility thing for sure.
Yeah. And, and it's a grind, but listen, at the end of the day, it's like, life's a grind. And I think, the more you kind of make challenges in your own life, it kind of makes the challenges that come naturally not as hard, I feel like. But listen, we're in a beautiful world. I love the reptile world. And I know one thing that you've been growing in the I don't want to say secretly, but I've been seeing it, is the amphibian world. Like what's going on with that? Before we get to your show and tell, I've been wanting to ask you, like, how is that side of the world going for you?
It's been super cool, and it's a totally different world. Amphibian world there's different sections. There's the dart frog people, which is kind of like the same type of niche as the micro gecko and anole thing I'm doing, but I'm more on the like tree frog thing.
Nice.
Where they have hundreds, if not thousands of babies at a time. And it's basically then you're raising the tadpoles, which is like raising fish, which at the same time as me growing up with reptiles, I had the same passion for aquatic stuff like fish and crustaceans. So I just took the reptile route, but doing the frogs and tadpoles and stuff, that kind of is like a newfound joy for me, and kind of spices things up because I've been doing the same thing for several years now. So that's just super fun. That's obviously I do sell those things on Morph Market. Also with so many babies, it's kind of a thing where I'm selling to pet stores and selling to, people who are able to distribute those. So kind of an ethical, sustainable way to supply the pet hobby without, selling wild caught animals.
All right. So listen, let's get right into it. I'm going to let Armen take over, guys. What he's going to do is he's going to show some of his top sellers currently on Morph Market, but then also maybe give us the level of care you would say, Armen, like, is this like a beginner, intermediate? That way people get a good idea. So take it away, Armen.
So we're going to start off with anoles, and everyone knows a brown anole. You've probably ever walked into a Petco or PetSmart. They're selling brown anoles for $5.99. Well, this is the upgraded Bugatti version of the brown anole. This is a brown anole that is line bred to be bright red. And this is a young sub-adult male. He'll get just maybe an inch or so bigger. The care on this, anole-wise or lizard-wise in general, is probably as easy as it's going to get for a non-handleable lizard. So this is just going to require some sort of bioactive enclosure. They can live in all sorts of different I don't want to say temperatures and humidities, but they're tolerable of a lot of different scenarios. So if you mess up a little, this is going to be a very forgiving lizard.
What would you want to aim for though, Armen? Like in a perfect reptile collection, like husbandry temps wise, what would you want to aim for a lizard?
So you're going to want to aim for like 75 to 85 degree in the enclosure, and then humidity wise, you're going to miss them every day. So that usually will keep the humidity up, but you want to keep it above like 60%. Now, remember, these are invasive in places like Florida, Texas, a few other states. I think these are actually illegal in either North or South Carolina, but that just goes to show these are from Cuba, but they've kind of taken over the US, so they can live in all sorts of different temperatures and humidity. So, but the ideal enclosure, you're going to want something like an 18 by 18 by 24 for an adult pair. And then just set it up bioactive. It doesn't have to be bioactive, but that's the easiest and most fun way. You're going to enjoy them more because these aren't a handling lizard. So what I say, it's like a fish. If you just set up a beta fish in a bowl with nothing else, it's kind of boring. But when you set it up in a nice tank with lots of plants and stuff for it to do and watch it enjoy its life, that's when you're going to get the most rewarding experience out of a lizard like this. So obviously it's a bright red lizard against green plants. It's super fun. They're super bold, super interactive. They will eat from tongs and stuff like that.
Ideal diet, you would say, Armen?
Yeah, so ideal diet is going to be stuff like crickets, mealworms, basically insects. Sometimes they will go for like a pre-made crescent gecko diet like Pangea or Rapashi, but the main diet for these guys is going to be insects. And again, those are easy to get at just about any pet store, which makes them super easy. And they just make really cool little terrarium inhabitants. So this is an adult male. The feet. So this guy, you can't tell, but he doesn't have much of an open stripe on his back. The females have a really large, open kind of white stripe on their back, and that's how you're going to tell them apart. And the females will stay a little smaller than males. So the camera's not totally picking up how red this is. It's like a fire truck red right now. It looks a little more pinkish, but they're just really, really cool display animals. And this is definitely my most popular anole. People love them.
Okay, I know there's people out there wondering how much.
So these are the super high red ones are going for about $200, and then the lower grade ones range from 150 to 85. So I kind of grade them based on how they come out because it is a line bred thing. So you don't always know exactly where you're going to pop out of eggs. So once they hatch and grow up a little, you kind of have a good idea what they're going to look like. So this would probably be like $150, $175 lizard. The crazy ones I do sell for $200 each.
Nice. All right. What's up next?
So next, we have probably the most popular micro gecko I have. So these are ashy geckos. All right. You can see. So this is a baby. They hatch out with stripes and a bright orange tail. And then as they mature, you can't really totally see in the camera. They kind of turn this tannish color, but they still have really cool speckling pattern. And then the benefit of these is they do really well in a bioactive enclosure in pairs. When they breed, you can leave the eggs in the enclosure to hatch, and the parents do not hurt the babies. So even though they don't always stay this crazy pattern and vibrant color, it's fun because you get to actually hatch out babies in the enclosure. The parents don't hurt them, and you can kind of watch the whole cycle in a small. You can do it in as small as a 12 by 12 by 12 enclosure, and that's something I would recommend for a pair. And then as babies mature and start to lose the pattern, you'll remove them so that there's no territorial issues. But they are basically, as far as temperature and humidity goes, a very similar care to the brown anole. So like 75, 85 degrees, above 60% humidity. These are also going to be eating smaller bugs. At this size, you can get a 1/4-inch cricket, which a lot of Petco's PetSmarts have. You can also feed fruit flies if you want to, grow your own food. And yeah, this is by far the most popular micro gecko I have. Because they're super easy. Also, they have a really good personality. They're super bold. They're not afraid of people. You can set them up, and it's not going to be like anti-tank syndrome where you never see it. No, you're going to see these guys walking around. They can walk on glass. You'll see them on the front. Sometimes you can even, if you work with them, they can take food from you. So they just make a really cool little display animal. Oh, this at this size looks almost like a tropical fish, which is even cooler to me. And then, like I said, they turn into this, but you can kind of see in the camera the
Armen, do you sell them that small? Like, are you able to let them go?
They hatch out like half this size, and at this size is about when I would sell them if someone wants to buy a baby and grow it up. A lot of people like growing up their pets, so at this size, I sell them unsexed because you can't sex them till they're about sub-adult. So unsexed, I sell for $85 each, and then as adults, I sell pairs for $250 each, so about like $125 an adult.
If you wanted to keep these in groups in a big enclosure, is that doable?
Yeah, it's doable. So the males and females are territorial. So in a small enclosure, like I said, if it's like a 12 by 12 by 12, you're going to want to do just a pair. But I know and have seen where you do a large enclosure and each pair kind of makes their own territories. Then it's very possible to do 2 or 3 pairs, maybe some extra females that'll go between the males. But again, they do kind of set up little territories. So if you're going a small enclosure, definitely ideally is 1 pair. Babies aren't territorial. You can raise a bunch of babies together, but as they mature, you kind of start seeing a dominance thing and you want to start separating things out.
Awesome. That's so neat. All right. What's this last one, right?
Yep, last one. And then this is probably another super popular micro gecko. This is the Puerto Rican Crescent gecko, and this is an adult male. So you can see this is literally, I can't even show how big it is compared to my thumb, a tiny, tiny, tiny lizard. I mean, this is a young adult male, so he might get like, not even half a centimeter longer, but this is about it. So this is going to be the very similar care to the ashy gecko, which I just showed. But they are a little shyer. So don't expect to see them a ton. But they make really cool terrarium inhabitants, and it's just so cool to be able to have something so small in your terrarium.
So if you're seeing something out like this in its enclosure, what time of the day normally is that? Like when they're basking?
Yeah, these are more diurnal. So they're going to be out during the day. And it also just, it's same like fish. If you put them in a high traffic area, like say you put them in your house and they're in the living room where the family is a lot, everyone's walking around more, they're going to get used to you and they're going to be out a lot more versus say you put them in your bedroom and you leave at 8 a.m. in the morning, you don't get back till like 6 p.m. and you're out in the living room and then you just go in your room for an hour before bed. They're going to be hiding because they're really not used to you. So ideally, what I always tell people, if you really care to see your lizards, put them in a super high traffic area where people are. If you work at a desk all day, put the enclosure on your desk or next to your desk so they get used to you, and they'll basically be desensitized to you and not mind being seen by you, and they'll know you're not a threat, basically.
That's awesome. You know, they say that too with like bigger monitor species, like, you know, you have black dragons and like the water monitors that could be kind of spicy at a young age. And
Right.
you know, there's certain tricks as far as keeping them in a high traffic area, which they notice you a lot more, they calm down. So
Yes.
I mean, and all these kind of think the same, you would, you know, in a sense, you would say, right?
It's super amazing because this tiny gecko to me is almost as smart as some of the monitors I've kept.
That's wild.
They can you can watch them, like look at you, think about what they're doing. The way they hunt a cricket is just so cool. And yeah, not only they're just like monitors, not only high traffic area, but also ideally like eye level, or if you're sitting at a desk a little above the desk so that you can, so they're so tiny, they live on the ground. You can only imagine they're running away from things that are coming from above all the time. So if you're kind of eye level with them, set up an enclosure a little higher, it's going to make them a lot less inclined to be afraid of you.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, Armen, before we let you go, you know, you being a top seller in Morph Market, what are some tips out there for somebody out there who maybe is just starting to post some stuff? Maybe somebody's been posting some stuff, not making sales, but what's some advice for anyone out there?
So there's definitely a few things that I see a lot of people making mistakes on. Number one and most important is your photos. You want to make sure, especially the cover photo, and then all the photos after that, that's like 90% of the battle. You want to take really good photos that make the animal look how it looks. I mean, you don't want to over exaggerate colors or anything, edit them, but you want to take a beautiful photo, get as much of the animal in the frame as possible. And of course, it really helps to have photos of the exact animal. Some things it's hard, like when I have 400 frogs and they all look the exact same, I'm not going to take a picture of every single frog, but your sales are going to way increase when you take pictures of the exact animals that you're selling. Also, just be very mindful of price of what other people are selling things for. Yes, maybe you bought something 3 years ago and you finally bred it, but you might not be able to sell it the same price that you originally bought yours for. So just before you post your ad, definitely take a look at what other people are selling the same thing for, or what they were selling the same thing for in the past 6 months, and just be mindful of that, because there's no use to make an ad, post it for double what they're going for at the current time, and get super frustrated that you can't sell it. So unless you don't mind, then it might sit there forever and the right person might come along and like the exact animal you have. But price and photos are probably the biggest factors into selling an animal.
And if you have those 2 boxes checked, then I also think it's just timing. I mean, sometimes it's just you got to have the right person looking at it, you know?
Yeah, totally. Also customer service too. I mean, that's major timing. Just being able to work with people. If people want to do a payment plan, wait for shipping weather to, be patient with people. A lot of people are going to Morph Market. They're buying it's the first time they're getting an animal shipped. So you got to walk them through stuff sometimes. And then just following up and trying to, not asking people to leave a review, but making them have such a good experience that they leave a review when it gives them the option. And those reviews certainly totally help a lot, because I mean, I do it. Everyone does it. Everyone goes to someone's page if they have 2 reviews versus 200.
Big time.
Yeah. Even 1 or 2 bad reviews is like, you question, oh, why did that happen? So you want to avoid those as much as possible. And I mean, if something goes wrong or animal isn't exactly how someone expected it, and there's a way to rectify it, always, I mean, I hate to say it, the customer is usually always right. You want to treat them that way. So of course, there's extreme cases that's not true, and you're dealing with a Karen or something. But most of the time, you want to make your customer happy. A lot of times, those people that you fix a situation that even maybe they took care of the animal wrong and something went wrong, you fix it, and they'll come back to you because you were so kind to them, gracious to them. It's just kind of just dealing with people how we're supposed to. So that's another big part. That's a long-term thing past just posting photos and getting the price right.
Amazing advice. And guys, please check them out. HerpTime on Morph Market. One of the best doing on Morph Market. And I got to say, your ratings speak for itself, Armen. And I don't need ratings personally to know that you're a good keeper, because I know you personally, and I've been to your booth, I've seen your stuff, and you are just doing amazing work. But I will say right now, you are having some people in these chats demand that you go back to YouTube and start posting some stuff on YouTube. Okay. He does have a channel. This guy has great numbers. I don't know why. like Armen, I don't know why.
I'm a person that if I do something, I'm doing it like 100%.
Yeah.
And I spend so much time just taking care of animals. The animals come first before I make any content. I got to make sure all the animals are cared for before I make an Instagram, a TikTok, or whatever. And YouTube, since it's horizontal versus vertical, I got to shoot it all on its own. I don't want to half-ass it. So it's like, I'd rather not do it than do it half-ass, which I don't know if that's the right way to do it, because I know a lot of people, I'm answering sometimes the same question 10 times in a day on how to take care of something. Yeah. And if there was a YouTube video, I could just send a link. That would probably save me time in the long run. I know I gotta get around to it, but there's no excuse.
Well, maybe this will motivate you. Being on Morph Market's YouTube channel, you had a bunch of people in the chats who just love you. You had a few goat comments in there, but I think you're definitely one of the goats in the hobby. So thank you for everything you do, Armen. When's the next show you'll be vending? Is it super shows that you only stick to?
I think, I'm going to the next super show, the LA Pet Fair, in I think it's the 28th and 29th of June.
Nice.
I think I am going to the All American Reptile show in Denver in April. Nice. And those are the only ones really on my radar right now. So
there you go, man. And also, guys, I also highly recommend checking out Armen's Instagram, because you are definitely very consistently posting there, right, Armen? Like this, you're mostly active on IG, you would say?
IG is the best, especially if you want to message me. Instagram's the best. I don't really reply to Facebook or TikTok or whatever. Instagram's good, but honestly, if you actually have interest in an animal or like actual legitimate questions about animal care, you can message me on Morph Market through an ad or just like through the messaging feature. And I always respond to Morph Market. Instagram, it can get lost because I get a lot of spam and random stuff. But Morph Market is like you're 100% getting a response, whether it's in 2 minutes or in 2 hours, it'll come. So
there you have it. If you mean business, hit them up on Morph Market.
Right.
Thank you so much, Armen. This definitely won't be the only time we'll see Armen. I definitely have plans on, going to your collection and getting a really deep dive vlog and showing it for all the keepers, because you got a lot of people who rock with you, and I'm one of them. But listen, go enjoy your weekend, Armen. And guys, do me a favor and give it a round of applause for my man Armen of HerpTime, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for having me on, MJ. It's
all right, man. Have a great Friday and have a good weekend. Thanks, Armen.
Cool. You too.
All right. Thanks to everyone who hung out. Now, listen, before you guys go, I do got to announce a winner. There is a winner. Somebody won $1,000 to spend on Morph Market. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to drop the winner's name. But before I do want to speak a little bit about world peace. I'm just kidding. Okay, guys, here we go. The winner is username MaxSTB9121. Again, okay, right there at YouTube, username MaxSTB9121. I hope I'm saying that right. So if you're watching this right now, username MaxSTB921, please email support@morphmarket.com. Claim your $1,000 credit on Morph Market, where you could go to any Morph Market breeder, seller, and spend your money with them. All right. So congratulations to the winner. And I also want to congratulate somebody who won the Morph Market merch pack on commenting on last week's vlog. And so shout out to my man, Trailer Park Chondros, who will be getting shipped an awesome Morph Market swag pack. All right. Really, really cool stuff coming your way. And I'm going to be doing it again on this live. So guys, do me a favor, drop a comment on this live. And I'll pick 2 people this time. I'll pick 2 people in the comment section to ship out an awesome Morph Market swag pack. We're talking shirts, hats. Dude, look at these hats, bro. These are new era hats. All right. New era hats. Some of the cleanest in the game. But thank you so much, guys. That's all we have this week on the Morph Market show and tell show. Oh, also, guys, give me some feedback. How would you guys like it if we did more showing reptiles versus talking about reptiles? Raise your hand. Okay, good. But that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be showing a lot more reptiles here on this Friday show. And again, just to remind you, every Sunday you could catch a vlog here on the Morph Market channel. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that like button. If you're a herp timer like myself, hit the like button right now. And again, drop a comment because I am picking somebody to send some cool stuff to. So, all right, guys, listen, enjoy your weekend. It's a wrap for this Friday. Episode 8 with HerpTime's in the books. Have a good weekend, and I'm out.